But I almost feel, Mike, that we were, in a way, fooled by James Harden. And I'm going to say this, and it's not to be contrarian. It's not to be different. I think that we pile on too much. Losing on the road in a Game 7 in a 4-5 matchup, it happens. And I do feel sometimes we make these sweeping judgments. James, if you want to criticize James Harden for what he did do or hasn't done in his career, I think that window is passed. I feel like it was prime Houston Rockets where he was susceptible to it. So I get the criticism. I get that people maybe not like how he handled things in Brooklyn or handled things in Houston or in other spots. But I even saw a graphic last night, Mike, from Yahoo Sports that said this is the 4th team that James Harden has lost a Game 7 in.
Yep.
And I just thought to myself, I get with the Rockets. I can maybe even get with the Brooklyn Nets a little bit. But the 76ers were Joel Embiid's team.
Mm-hmm.
This Clippers team is Kawhi Leonard's team. And if we're going to be just, I don't want to say cherry-picking stats, but this is what makes the NBA exhausting at times, is this piling on. Everything is something. And I'm not saying that James Harden should be absolved of anything, but I just don't think that this is his team. I think he kept this team afloat during the regular season when they didn't have Kawhi Leonard, and that was a big deal. He had 32 points in a game earlier in the series against Denver. So when you have 32 points and then you have 9 points, that obviously, or 7 points, excuse me, I gave him 2 more than he should have had.
That's okay. It's a nice bonus.
I get the whole deal, but it's just like we're waiting for these players to fail. And I feel like we've criticized James Harden for so long that I'm almost tired of it.
But is that part of what the NBA has been?
Yes.
Right? Go back and we talk about the star-driven league and whatever, but the regular season, what happens every year? Oh, it's too long. They play too many games. They built that cockamamie thing into the CBA that you got to have 65 games played to be eligible for awards, and then they say that they're taxing their bodies too much to get to the 65 games. That's missing 17 games. That's a pretty big margin of error in terms of, taking a few days off to go through an injury process, etc. Not to mention you got days off built in there. I mean, that's a good month of a season plus when you really look at it. But because of the regular season, look, half the teams don't matter. It becomes what we're playing for draft picks, or you're looking at a young star and just saying, all right, we'll watch him intently. I mean, look at how badly San Antonio played a year ago. Mm-hmm. But we couldn't get enough of Victor Wembanyama, knowing they were going to get throttled almost every night. But I was like, all right, this guy's just different, right? But we look for storylines and we look for heroes and villains. Hell, look at the major names that cover the sport. That's all they do.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. It's all, they're sycophantic towards one guy, or this guy's the worst thing, just like their soap opera characters. SAS. But it's the idea that, we need that. And for James Harden, he has just become that evil man in black because people didn't like the way he got himself out of Houston. People didn't like it. Like, I like the honesty of it. Like, sure. There's no backroom dealing. He just said, hey, I'm out.
Sure. Showed up out of shape in Brooklyn. I know Kevin Durant was not happy with that. He is who he is.
Yep.
Like, to that point, in the stuff that was happening in the past, the West was such a logjam this year. And the Clippers, I mean, they had a big lead in Game 1 that they blew. In their comeback in Game 4, they pull even and then lose on the heartbreaking alley-oop, if you want to call it.
Sure.
So they were right there. Maybe they just ran out of gas. Maybe Denver was rolling. By the way, when you look at Denver and you look at what Denver did last night, that's where Denver is deadly. When you have 6 guys scoring 15 or more points. Mm-hmm. It's not Jokic with 40 that's going to kill you. It's when everybody is involved in rolling, and the Clippers couldn't stop it last night. I don't think it's an indictment on Kawhi Leonard either. It's a missed opportunity, no doubt, and it's an enormous missed opportunity for the Clippers because you had Kawhi Leonard healthy for the postseason. All of those I am fine with saying, and the window for them is closing faster because you don't know how long Kawhi is going to be healthy. There's another year, that he'll be around, and then after that, you're going to make other decisions. James Harden's going to turn 36 this summer, so that window is closing fast. All of that is fair game. But when we're piling on me like another Game 7 from James Harden, that to me is what can make the league exhausting.
It almost becomes expected to a level, right? So
Sure.
to be surprised about it and throw your hands up, like the guy.
Yeah.
I age myself all the time, right? And I really do it when I see a bunch of juniors running around on the court, right? When Gary Trent Jr. dropped that ball, it's like, oh, Gary Trent.
Yeah.
Poor guy. And things like that, right? We watch all of those moments. But, yeah, James Harden's been at this a minute. He is who he is.
Exactly. Yes.
Right? Kawhi Leonard, you hope for the best. And you hoped that if they did make a long run, that he'd be around for it.
Yep. But
so, yeah.
It's almost like I don't have the energy for it. Because, again, these teams, they were both 50 and 32 this season. You have a Game 7 on the road at home. It's not necessarily a winnable ball game, right? Like, you say, like, well, we're going to go and win that game. No, that's not the case. And sure, maybe James Harden doesn't live up and doesn't come through in the clutch again, but I'd rather hold that against 2018 James Harden than 2025 James Harden. I just don't have the energy, because if the Clippers would have won last night against the Nuggets and then they go and face Oklahoma City, and let's say they lose in 5 games, then we're saying, see, James Harden couldn't get him to the conference finals again. Like, what are we – like, he's in a no-win situation unless they go on a miraculous run and win the NBA title.
And that also speaks to the, maybe the lack of respect at this point for OKC and what that roster has put together this year. Likewise, the Cavaliers. I think everybody keeps waiting from an NBA larger perspective for the veteran star power to break through. It's like, it's okay. Sometimes other teams and depth of roster, it's okay to cover that.
Absolutely. I called OKC America's team.
Look at that.
You can't cheer for the Knicks, can't cheer for the Celtics. They're not littered with top 5 lottery picks. They took a chance. SGA was the young promising player. Now he's an MVP. I think there's a lot of reasons to cheer for Oklahoma City if your team is now knocked out of the NBA playoffs.
I celebrate Lou Dort and Chet.
Yeah, there you go.
Those are my guys. Might be trading card related. I don't know. He's Dan Beyer at Dan Beyer on Fox. Find me over at Swollen Dome.